Okay, so good afternoon, guys.
Coming in. So let me give you a brief introduction.
Sure.
Hello. Okay. So hello everyone. So the Montford University for you today, and we have born from the Montford. I will give you brief introductions about the Montford University in Leicester. And after that webinar, we'll go for a Q&A sessions. And in the Q&A sessions, if you have any question, all those questions, right? So you can ask in Burmese, you can ask in English, any language you want. Okay. So anything you want. Okay. So let's welcome on. Unmute yourself. Okay, so you are the co-host now. I think so. You can share the screen.
Okay, sure. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bon. Currently, I work as a country manager for Thailand for the Montford University. I'm based in Thailand, by the way. And I'm going to present a little bit about the university, which will take around, hopefully, not more than 30 minutes. So bear with me. In about a minute, I'll share my screen and then I'll start to talk about the university. Just give me a moment to pop up my slide up there. So, well, my name is Bon, and also these are my contact details in case you have any questions after the session or would like to drop me an email for more inquiries. I would be more than happy to answer each and every one of you. Okay. So who are we? We are a young, modern university is what we like to call ourselves. And we have more than 27,000 student population, which accumulate to about 10 to 15% who are international students. So the key areas that we offer to the students are international experience, academic excellence, and graduate employability. So for international experience, as you know, that the city of Leicester has two universities within the city itself. So it's the Montford University and the University of Leicester. This means that there will be a big multicultural society between international student and local student itself. The next one would be the trip or the program, which we call DMU Global. We take the student to an academic trip around 10 to 7 days. And the good thing about this program is that the university will subsidize the cost and expenses for the student up to 50%. The maximum amount that we actually support the student is about £250. And also for academic excellence, we have more than 300 programs across 4 faculty at the university. And we have actually like double core subject, especially in business. For example, in master level, we do have international business and marketing, international business and management, international business and entrepreneurship. And at the Montfort, we actually learn by doing, so it's more practical. So for the student who would like to come here and experience something rather than just like studying class or reading books, I think the Montfort is doing really well in that area, where the university is trying to actually prepare the student towards the next step, like finding jobs, finding your career path, which leads to the last point, which is the graduate employability. In the year of 2020 and 21, we won an award, which is called NUE. It stands for National Undergraduate Employability. Basically, it means that the student who graduates from the Montford University receive a job more than around 80 to 85%. And we have a team actually like dedicated to that area, like career, occupation, jobs after like the student finish studying with us. So where are we? Actually, we located in the middle of UK, actually in the as you can see, like in the middle part here, we call it the East Midland. And actually it is quite convenient location and quite accessible, because you can travel to London, it's about 1 hour and 15 minutes. You can travel to Birmingham, it's about 30 to 40 minutes by trains. So basically, if you stay in the middle of the UK, the living cost is not so much like high, but you can travel to other parts in England or in the UK. So I covered most of this already, but not to mention that we still offer some of the service to our students. For example, like airport picks up, and we offer free English class and free third language for the student if the student is eager to learn. And talk about a little bit about facts and awards that we received in the recent year. So this is one of the awards that we received actually. This is called the QS 5 stars. Basically, it determines we have a really good reputation internationally, we have a good facility, we have good teaching experience and learning experience, and these are actually voted by the students and people who are actually involved in the industry. And we are only one of the 16 institution in the UK who receive this award. Next is how we actually transform like our learning system actually. So normally, if you study in the university or even in schools, so you do around 4 or 5 subjects per semester, but we are actually like tweak that or changing it a little bit. So what we do is that you will study modules by modules. So it's around 7 and 8 modules per week. And then within that modules, you only do one subject. Basically, it allows us, the university, to actually give the student like a direct or better aim towards their classes, their subject, their future knowledge, for example. In this way, we develop a new system which is called Education 2030s. Within that 7 weeks period, right? You only do one subject, one exam, one report, one presentation, which allow the student to focus on the thing that actually needs to focus on at that particular moment. So once this system has been tasted already last year, actually we did with some of our undergraduate program, and we received a really good feedback from the student. So it says that like 93% of the student actually prefer to study in this kind of system, comparing to when they have to do like 4 or 5 subjects per semester. So for faculty and school, these are the 4 main faculty that we have in the university. So we have art, design, humanities, which is one of the most popular faculty, and it is the first faculty we actually teach at the Montford University. Second is business and law. Is quite popular for Southeast Asia student, or actually this region is called APAC now. And we have health and life science, and lastly, computing, engineering, and media. So next step, I will show you the video of the university, so you can see for yourself what it's like for when you actually go and study at our campus. Okay, moving on. So these are our undergraduate requirement. As you can see here, we accept level 3, level 4, level 5 diplomas in actually like in many fields of studies. Sorry. So for postgraduate, it's 5 years of bachelor degree grades above 60%. And as you may know, a lot of our courses, especially in art and design, and even in computing and engineering, we do require direct background from the previous study in undergraduate. If you don't have the direct or related degrees, what you can do is that if you would like to do some computing courses, you can go and maybe study some online classes to get certain certificate, and then you can apply that to substitute for your related background that you didn't have in the past. These are our English requirements. So basically for most of the courses that the student from APAC apply for, it will be 6.0 and 5.5 in each band. And these are the documents that you need to submit when you apply to the Montford University. So application form, well, we still use our application form. The passport should be valid to cover the whole course, statement of purpose or personal statement, one academic reference at least, complete that transcript and your certificate. And for those who wouldn't be able to and wouldn't want to do IELTS, for example, they can take this test. This test is called English test. It is a standardized test, quite similar to IELTS because the student will be tested on 4 skill, which is similar to IELTS. But the good thing is that the student can do it actually online and at home. They just need to have like camera, laptop, microphone and speaker. That's it, and a good internet connection. Once you pass this test and it meets the requirement, then you don't have to take IELTS anymore. If the student wants to do this test, make sure that the application should be submitted first in order to get what we call a student reference. And then once the student get the reference number, I'll personally will be the one who booked the test for the student. For precisional English, we do offer precisional English for the student as well. So we have 3 options mainly. So it's 4 week, 8 week, and 13 weeks. I would like you guys to just focus on the entry point. If you don't know what level you are at and how many weeks you have to do the English, the precisional English, basically is that if we require 6.0, you got overall 5.5, each band 5.0, and then you go 4 weeks. And within like minus like 0.5 score, either is band or overall, you do another 4 weeks. So we have 3 options for you, and these are the prices. So for art, design, humanity, like I said before, this is one of the most, I would say, this is one of the most popular faculty that we have, and we started to teach. And actually, we have a lot of alumni and collaborators. For example, like Jimmy Shu, and he's actually the one who actually helped us to design the footwear design course as well. So for this faculty, if you're not sure, just email me or text me or message me, whatever, because we do have a wide range: fashion and textile, design craft, interior design, game arts, game production, architecture, fashion buying, fashion management, for example. And I mentioned earlier about the DMU Global trip, and this is the places that we actually like took the student before in the past. So if you are doing fashion, the student might be able to go to Hong Kong or Paris or Milan. And then if you're doing, for example, like choreographic or dance, you go to Kyiv in Ukraine. Fun fact about art, design, humanity. The student who will be studying in the building which is called Vijay Patel is actually one of our newest building, and it is dedicated to just this faculty only. We have around 25 studio workshop for the student who are doing arts. We have 34 specialist lecturer who actually work in the industry and then come to teach. For performing arts, dramas, and choreography, we have 8 studio, and then we have 20 specialist lecturer. For Faculty of Business and Law, I mentioned earlier about double core subject, which allow the student to focus on 2 areas at the same time. But I would say one of the most popular course would be still business and management and business and marketing. Like I said before, if you have further question or course inquiry, or you would like to know about any curriculum or course description, please come to me for more details. So what is so special about this faculty? Actually, this is one of the, how can I say, the busiest faculty that we have right now, because we have more than 10,000 students overall. If the student is interested in doing law at the university, we have a court for them to practice. If the student would like to do finance subject, we have room for them to use. And most of our courses have what we call a professional body, like an accreditation by organization. So we have like CACCA, CIMA, CIPD, CIM. CIPD is actually like dedicated to HR. If you're doing HR, you get this qualification as well, and then you can put that in your resume and then your CV. Next up would be about like career path. So we have a lot of GATE lecturer, and it's free. And then we have actually our alumni who graduate with us and then go out and work and then come back and then give lectures about how do they adjust life from the student to like student life to work life, how to find job in the UK for instance. Third, Faculty of Computing, Engineering, and Media. I would say this is quite upcoming faculties in terms of the course that we have. We have cybersecurity, networking security. We have computer science, mechanical engineering. So basically, we don't have civil engineering, that we don't, but most of the courses that lines within computing, engineering, and media, we do have media production. The student will be able to focus on all the media's aspect. For example, like to become a producer, working in music industry, work within the media distribution, for example, like radio. So we do have all kinds of equipments and facility to facilitate other students. So these are some of the trip of EMU Global. So if you're, for example, if you're doing film, right, film. So we brought the student to Cannes Film Festival before. For Faculty of Health and Life Science, actually it's not quite as popular as another faculty, but we do have some interesting courses. For example, like biomedical science. We have cosmetic science for undergraduate students. We have pharmacy. Unfortunately, for the Montford, we don't have medicine. We don't have dentistry, and nursing is actually for local student or inbound student only. But rather than that, we have it as well. Okay, these are some of the pictures from our university. So on the top right, as you see, this is the pattern room. Like I mentioned before, the university, we call ourselves modern university in where we and how we teach and the way we deliver is quite practical. So each of the courses, mostly they have their own like facilities. This is the pattern room. And this is all the pictures from Vijay Patel building. So you have like the photography room as well. And on the top left, that would be actually like near the lobby where we allow the student to display their work after they finish building it as in project or submit their project. This is a huge Aston building. This is for business students. So if you are interested in doing business, this will be your building. This is our tutorial classes. So in the UK, the subject that you're doing, it will be divided into main classes. The first class, you will do lecture class, which are in the big auditorium room with around 50 up to 100 people if you're doing a related course, for example, like in business. And the second class would be the individual class, group project class. So you'll be studying in this room instead. So this is the lecture room. On the left side, this is the studio where if you are doing performings or dramas and theaters, this would be the facility. This is the Queen's building where Faculty of Computing, Engineering and Media are doing. So it's like a U-Hall, U-shaped building. So on each wing, so on the left wing, I would say it would be contributing to computing and engineering. And on the right wing, that would be the media wing. So in the video that you see, within this circle, within these circles, or the building that you see in the video earlier, they are situated here. So where is the city center? So city center is around here. So it takes around 5 minutes from the campus itself to the city. So it's quite convenient and you don't need to pay for any transportation within the city. And the furthest accommodation is about not more than 10 minutes more. And within this area is quite safe because even though we don't have fences, but we have our own campus, which are located next to the city. We have 24-hour security and we have CCTV as well. So the student doesn't really need to worry, or your parents doesn't really need to worry about it. And within the city, we have actually like it is quite similar to big city, but like I said before, it is Leicester. So we have 2 shopping malls, we have Thai restaurant, 2 Thai restaurants, we have Korean restaurant, Japanese restaurant, Vietnamese restaurant, 3 Asian supermarket. So you don't need to bring any ingredients or goods from your home country because actually you can get it there. And the opportunity for work, for example, I would say it's quite easy to find jobs in Leicester, just because it is considering as one of the growing cities still in England, because of the fame of the football team, but I'll talk about it later. For the student support, this is what we offer. Like I mentioned before, so we have all the support that the student needs, especially for academic support. So third language is for free if the student wants to learn. We teach French, Japanese, and Spanish. And free English class as well if the student find themselves quite difficult to adjust to the English learning environment. And if the student forgets, for example, like their laptop to lecture, to do the group work, they can go directly to the library and then rent it out for 3 hours. So most of our undergraduate courses have what we call a placement or a sandwich year. So basically, we are really good in this, and this is the amount of money that the student can earn within the placement year. This is towards the first one of the first slides I talked about. So the graduate employability, we have a team which is called the MU Work, which provide you with a coaching session, personal development session, practice the interview with you, and then if you want to find work in the UK, the student are recommended to go to this team and then drop their CV and then go to the session that the university provide for them. For example, there will be session about, okay, how to write a proper CV, how to adjust your CV, how do you modify your LinkedIn profile, and then what information should be put in LinkedIn. And then we have business insider visit, which means that most of the employer will come in and would like to recruit the student. They will come to this team first. I talked about the DMU Global already. These are some of the destinations we brought the student before in the past. So actually it's everywhere. Depends on the field that you are studying. So life in Leicester, generally, I would say Leicester is a perfect place to study, just because the living cost is actually affordable, it's easy to find job, and the student community and then the local community actually really support Asian students. Like I mentioned before, Leicester became famous of the football team, right? So basically, we have a lot of inbound tourists coming in to watch football. One that's like start to stir it up. We have many events, concerts are hosted in Leicester. Events, live performance, exhibition are hosted here. So it's not going to be quiet if you stay in Leicester, and it's not going to be busy compared to Birmingham and London. However, if you want to go for some exotic adventure, if you want to visit like a big city, like London, for example, or Birmingham, you can just take the train there and one day and then come back. It's quite easy. And for other things I have mentioned before, which actually leads to the part where you will always find a job in Leicester, that's for sure. So for the accommodation, we have around 10 accommodation options for the student. So the price range are quite vary. So it's about £100 to £160 per week. And this actually like inclusive, which means the prices you pay per week, that includes water, electricity, utility, for example, are all included already. And most of the accommodation are quite close to the university, which takes you around 5 minutes to walk to the campus. It's not quite far. Plus, the location of the accommodation depends on your own preference, as in terms of some of the students would like to stay near the city, a bit further away from the campus, or some of the students would like to stay in the middle between campus and the city, and some who are actually doing a lot of works in art, so they spend a lot of times in their own in the university studio to work on that project. They would like to stay next to campus. So that depends on your choice. About the prices, there are lower accommodation, but the type of the room you get is a single room. So it's a room where you have to share your toilet and kitchen with other students within the same floor, I would say. But within this price, you get an accommodation with your own bedroom, but you need to share your kitchen. If you pay more than around 140 or 150 pounds per week, then you get the studio room where you have your own kitchen and you have your own bedroom in your room. And the student doesn't really need to worry about accommodation, because we guarantee our accommodation for the international first year student. So either it's undergraduate or postgraduate, we guarantee that the student will always get room for their first year. So some of the picture of the city of Leicester. So the tuition fee, this is approximately the tuition fee is about 15 to 16,000, depends on the course that the student are choosing, but most of the undergraduate would be 15,000 and 16,000 pounds per year. And this is the scholarship that we offer for this year. If there is any changes within that, I'll I'll update you guys again. But let's just say this has been changed already to August, so the student can still apply if they want to get an extra scholarship. And this are changing too, because actually it's 1,500 and 2,000, but I'll go back and check for sure to confirm this information again. So this is the price breakdown, cost of living in Leicester. As you can see, actually it's not really expensive to actually like study and stay in Leicester. So accommodation is quite reasonable, affordable. The student doesn't really need to pay for any transportation, and there are lots of places to do things, to eat out. So that depends on the student like preference or personal like life. If the student like want to eat out a lot, or they want to cook by themselves, nevertheless, they will always find job in Leicester, that's for sure. About visa information. So if the student applying to the Montford University, they will get a CAS, and then they need to apply for the student visa, and they can apply actually earlier, around 3 to 6 months prior to their course. And this is the visa fee that the student needs to pay, and the health surcharge. This is per year. Then thank you so much. That's it for me today. So, and thank you for your participation too. So any questions from the students so far?
Thank you so much, Bon, for the insightful presentations. So guys, do you have any questions? Feel free to ask either in Burmese or English. You can type in the chat box as well. So for the Q&A sessions, actually I have some meeting right now, so I have to go. So we have our marketer here, Mia Painso. He'll be handling the rest of the sessions. So thank you so much for coming to today's webinar. Thank you, Bon. So Mia, can you please handle the Q&A sessions?
Brother. Okay, brother.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Megon is illusion Miluavano, Chapotia Miluado, you below Pirole, and Milo Pirole, Colo, Taya Miluava, English of Miluia, Yamalu Mil and General Pada Pivuameno. We have a question in chat box. Please let me know about computer science for my fees.
Okay, thank you for your question, Liam. I'll check for can I ask further? Is this for undergraduate or postgraduate?
I think undergraduate.
Undergraduate, right? Okay.
Okay.
1 second. So the fee of the course is about 15,000, and I'll type in the chat box, it's easier. Just to let everyone see as well. So £15,750 per year.
Thank you. Have another question, guys. You are free to ask in chat box of the right to the Mr. Bon. In another question in the chat box, is there any artificial intelligence course for undergrad and postgrad?
Actually, yeah, we do. We have AI for both postgraduate and undergraduate. So for it's actually the name is the artificial intelligent Master of Science and artificial intelligent Bachelor of Science. So we do have both for undergraduate and postgraduate.
I have another question.
Actually, you guys can ask me anything, it's fine, whether it's about the city or it doesn't have to be the cost, you know. So for me particularly, I understand the student that it's not about only courses. It can be anything, life, how to adjust to a new environment, whatever. So you guys can drop me the question, it would be fine. Feel free.
Trong cho nên bắt đầu bây giờ hỗ trợ nó mà cost living cost တို့တခြားဈေးတွေနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးလဲပေးလို့ရပါတယ်နော်
I for both master and undergraduate, they have a placement year if you want to do. So it's not like an internship, because if it is internship, then you don't get paid. What we have is placement actually. So a placement is actually you get paid. So when you come to study with us, if it's undergraduate, so if you transfer, for example, oh no, not transfer, I would say like from year one, right? So if you do 3 years, that's undergraduate, like the full undergraduate. But if you do 4 years, or what we call sandwich year, you have the placement year on the 3rd year, and then you come back to study the 4th year, so for your last year. Within that 3rd year that you're going out to do the placement, you get a chance to actually earn around 15 to 18,000 pounds within that year, because it's not an internship, it's a placement. And for both undergraduate and postgraduate, we do have placement for that program.
Thank you. I have another question, guys. How long need to take for a master's degree?
It's 1 year basically. If you're doing the normal intake, it's around 12 months. But if you're doing like January intake, it will be different, because the January intake program is around 15 to 18 months. It's the same. I would say it is the same. The tuition fee are the same within two intake. It's just you get to stay more further in the UK. That's all.
Thank you. Another question in the chat box. How about living costs within the tuition fee for computer science?
I think the living cost within tuition fee, that's a separate part. But let's just say the average tuition is about 15,000 per year, right? The first year you come, if you confirm with us quite earlier, you get around 2,000 or 3,000 pound scholarship that deducted. So it's the first year you're going there is about 13,000 each for the tuition fee. For the living cost, I think that depends on you, how much you want to spend actually per month. Because let's just say if you like a good accommodation, not too fancy, for example, it costs you around 120 pounds per week. So that is about 480 pounds per month. And that alone is accommodation, electricity, Wi-Fi. And then I would say if you put up an extra like 300 pounds, that would be sufficient already. Because when I used to be a student, sorry, I didn't graduate from the Montford, but when I was a student, actually I didn't spend a lot of money, because I cook by myself a lot, just because I like Thai food, and then I always miss home just for the food thing. So I didn't go out to eat a lot. But in Leicester, I would say it's a little bit cheaper if you're comparing to another city. So even eat out in Leicester, it's not going to cost you a lot comparing to big city. And I'll say this. It seems like a boring city, but it is not, trust me. So you've got cinemas, you've got big shopping mall, you've got bowling lane, and you got pubs and clubs. I didn't advise a student, just go party and stuff, but I would say, as a student, if you're doing or studying abroad, it's not just about learning that actually get you or let you obtain new experience. So basically, we have everything and we got you covered, don't worry. And I think, if to be exact, it's gonna cost around £850 per month, at least. And you have a good light in Leicester. That's for sure. Is there any age restriction for undergraduate? No, we don't. Particularly, we do not have age restriction, but an extra document need to be submitted. For example, if you graduate from a diploma and more than 3 years, we would require what we call enhanced personal statement, where we ask you questions like, why would you like to come back and continue your study? Why would you want to do this program? Or even you are graduate more than 10 years, for example, and you would like to come back to your study, we will still consider the application, that's for sure. Depends on how you present yourself, your personal statement, your enhanced personal statement, and your document that are actually, valid for us to actually assess and validate you. We do not have any restriction towards that.
Thank you. Another question: can people who already graduate in Myanmar stay apply an undergrad course?
Yeah, sure. I think that's not a problem. The thing is that if you didn't, okay, so this is too much. I'll just sum it up for you because it's a lot of too much information. Yes, you can do that. Depends on the course that you want to apply. You shouldn't apply the same course that you graduated from. That's the thing. It wouldn't make sense if you have already done business management and you would like to do another 3 years of business management. That wouldn't make sense. But other than that, that would be fine.
Thank you. Guys, do you have any question? Mr. Bone, I think they don't have any question. Okay.
So thank you again, you guys today. Thank you, David, as well, and then the students. And then if you have any further questions you'd like to ask me and didn't be able to save my contact, please contact EEVS, okay?
Okay.
And then they come to me for sure.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you so much for today, and hopefully to see you guys in Leicester.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.